Once upon a time, there was a knight, and he was a lowly knight. He was cast aside. He wasn't the strongest or the bravest or the weariest. He wasn't the grandest or the shiniest or the coolest knight. He was just a knight, and he was a lowly one. And there was a princess, and all of the knights wanted to save her. It was kind of like their dream, everybody's, if you were a knight, that is. She was up in this castle and was guarded by a giant white dragon. The dragon's scales glistened like a snake's, and they had tints of reddish orange, but it was a white dragon, and it guarded this princess and it wouldn't let her out. Sometimes guys would go and try and fight it. They'd get killed though, and it was like an honor. Sometimes they'd make it back, but they would never actually succeed in saving the princess. But it was usually the guys that were the epic ones, the knights that were freaking shiny and boastful and strong and brave. Those guys would go out, usually were the ones. But one day, it came the day when the annual who's gonna go out, and our boy, he said, I'm going out. And they said, what? Dude, you're like lowly as hell. And he was like, I don't care, I'm gonna be the one going out. So he went out. So the first trial was he had to get through this giant forest, and it was super dark. And his first night in there, solo, he made a campfire, and then he heard it in the woods. It was giant spiders. Luckily, he defeated them. Then, as he was about to defeat the last one, the queen spider came out, and it was about to defeat him, but then a wizard came out and defeated it. Then he spoke to the wizard. The wizard had been watching him in the woods. So the wizard decided to accompany him at least to the castle where the princess was held, but then he let him save the princess because that was his duty. So his second trial, and the third trial being the princess, his second trial was a giant field with a different type of dragon. It was more of a snake. It didn't have legs, but it had wings, and it was a flying snake, and it was giant, black, and it spit out fire, but it also kind of spit out like this like molten, like stinky sulfur, poisonous, contaminated, grotesque, putrid stuff, and it had the head of a woman. And the wizard decided he could not deal with this, and he left actually, and so it was just up to the knight. But luckily he had brought with him some crosses, and he put the cross up to the thing, and it like basically disintegrated because it got so upset. It was like imploded. So then he made it to the dragon where it was holding the princess, and he killed the dragon, and he made it up to the princess, and he said, hey, okay, I made it. And she said, all right, let's go back to the kingdom. And he said, all right, are you my bride? And she said, all right, no, sorry, I have a boyfriend.